Well, look out, folks. It could be a fiscal cliffhanger. The clock is ticking right now on a deal to avoid monster tax hikes and mandatory budget cuts. Democrats over the weekend throwing down the gauntlet, saying no tax hikes, and there is no deal. Welcome to a brand new hour this morning of America's Newsroom. We are back in our old days, which have a beautiful new look, and happy to be here.
It feels good. You know, we got I'm Bill Hemmer, and we're going to get to John Boehner in a moment. But I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
It is. It looks awesome.
We've been downstairs in the closet for 2 months. Well, that's not a closet, but we were downstairs for 2 months. So
exactly.
Welcome and good morning. House Speaker John Boehner says that there's no way Republicans will agree to tax hikes. He says that cutting tax loopholes is the way to raise more revenue. But Nancy Pelosi is saying that any deal must have higher taxes on incomes above a certain level.
Just to close loopholes is far too little money. If it's going to bring in revenue, the president has been very clear that the higher income people have to pay their fair share.
So where does that leave us? Doug McElway live from Washington. So, Doug, I just noticed that the stock market seems to think that there may be a deal in the works today, perking up a little bit this morning. Are there any signs that they might be right?
Well, there might be, Martha. You know, if you go back to the White House meeting on Friday with congressional leaders, afterwards, leaders from both parties addressed the media together. Now, typically in these kinds of situations, if negotiations are not going well, party leaders will address the media separately, so perhaps that's encouraging. That said, both sides are staking out their negotiating positions. The president wants to see the Bush-era tax cuts expire, of course, on the top 2% of earners, individuals making over $200,000 a year, couples making over $250,000. Republicans say, though, that that would barely make a dent in the deficit.
It doesn't solve the problem. If we take the president's deal that he has brought to the table, you know how many days that pays for the federal government? Not 8 days, not 8 months, not 8 weeks, 8 days.
Republicans would like to see, as you just reported, tax deductions on the wealthiest earners capped and some tax loopholes closed and discretionary spending cut way back. But Democrats criticize that proposal in the same way that Republicans criticize the Democrats.
You cannot go forward. You have to cut some investments. If you cut too many, you're hampering growth, you're hampering our education, our investments for the future.
The Democrats' opposition to capping deductions may be grounded in self-preservation. The Wall Street Journal is reporting today that limiting personal deductions would hit Democrat-leaning blue states especially hard. States like New York and California, those are the states where taxpayers have the highest itemized deductions, Martha.
Oh, all right. So we hear that the president did weigh in on the fiscal cliff issue on his trip to Thailand and Cambodia. What did he say?
Well, during the joint press conference with Thailand's prime minister, the president asked for a little bit of divine guidance.
I believe in prayer when I go to church back home. And if a Buddhist monk is wishing me well, I'm going to take whatever good vibes he can give me to try to deal with some challenges back home.
Wall Street hopes those prayers are answered. U.S. companies are pulling back on investment, according to the Wall Street Journal, at the fastest rate since the recession.
Yeah,
Martha?
that was a depressing report. Doug, thank you very much. So at the bottom of the